Exodus chapter 34. Vayomer Yahweh el Moshe. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Pesol lekath nelu ot havanim, karishonim. Chisel out for thee 2 tablets of stones, like the first ones. וכתבתי על הלוחות את הדברים אשר היו על הלוחות הראשונים אשר שיברת. And I shall write upon the tablets the words which were upon the first tablets which thou hast broken. وَهَيَنَكُنْ لَبُوكَرْ, and be thou ready for the morning. وَعَلِيتَ بَبُكَرْ إِلَى هَرْ سِينَاءِ, and thou shalt come up in the morning to the Mount of Sinai. وَنِثَبْتَ لِثَامْ عَلَى رُوشِ هَهَرْ, and thou shalt station thyself for me there upon the head of the mountain. وَإِيشَ لَوْ يَعْلَى إِمَّاكَ, and a man shall not come up with thee. وَغَمَ إِيشَ عَلَى يَرَى بِكُلْ هَهَرْ, and also a man shall not be seen in all the mountain. גם הצאן והבקר אל יראו, also the sheep and the bullock, or the flock and the herd, shall not graze. אל מול ההר ההוא, before the front of that mount. ויפסול לפני לוחות האבנים כראשונים, and he chiseled out 2 tablets of stones, like the first. וישכם משה בבוקר, and he shouldered up, Moshe did, in the morning. ויעל אל הר סיני, and he went up to Mount Sinai. כתרצהו יהוה אותו, like what Yahweh commanded him. ויקח בידו שני לוחות האבנים, and he took in his hands 2 tablets of stone. וירד Yahweh בענן, and Yahweh descended in the cloud. ויתייצב עמותם, and he stood himself with him there. ויקרא בשם Yahweh, and he called in the name of Yahweh. ויעבור Yahweh על פניו, and Yahweh passed by over his face. ויקרא, and he called out, Yahweh, Yahweh, El Rahum Wahanun, Yahweh, Yahweh, a God merciful and compassionate, Erka Hapaim, long of noses, or nostrils, which means slow to anger, Rab Hesed Wehamet, and abundant in loving kindness and truth. Noter Hesed La Lapim, one keeping loving kindness for the thousands. No share wa pesha wahata, one bearing iniquity and transgression and sin. Wanake lo yanake, and acquittingly he shall not acquit. Poked awona vota alabanim wa alavenevanim, one visiting the iniquity of fathers upon sons, and upon sons of sons, alathilethim wa alaribeim, upon thirds and upon fourths, third generations and fourth generations. Wayamahar Moshe, Wayakoda Arshah, Wayashatahu, and Moshe hurried, and he bowed to the ground, and he bowed as to worship. Wayomer imanahamatahti hen be'enaka Adonai, and he said, if now I have found favor in thy eyes, my Lord, or O Lord Adonai, Yelechana Adonai beqerbenu, let now Adonai go in our midst, ki am kasher orefahu, though a people hard of neck it is. Wasalahata la'awonenu ulahatatenu unahalatanu, and forgive thou, pardon thou for our iniquities and for our sin, and inherit thou us. Wayomer, and he said, Hinne hanoki koret berit, behold, I am one cutting a covenant. Neged kol amka eshe niflaot, atra lo nivreu, bekol ha'arsh, ubekol hagoyim. Before all thy people I shall effectuate wonders which have not been created in all the earth and in among all the nations. Ora kol ha'am atrahata b'qirbo et ma'aseh Yahweh ki norahu. And all the people which thou art in its midst shall see the effectuation, the work of Yahweh, for it is a terrifying thing. Atrahani osher imach, which I am one effectuating with thee. Shemora leka et atrahanoki mithawaka hayom. Keep thou for thee what I have commanded thee today. What I am one commanding thee today. Hinani goresh mipanaka et hahamori wahakanaani wahahiti wahaperizi wahahiwi wahayabusi. Behold me, one driving out from before thy faces the Amori, and the Canaani, and the Hitti, and the Perizi, and the Hiwi, and the Yebusi. Hishamar Laka, Penetikar Berit Leotheb Harsh, Atara Hatabah, Aleha. Watch thou for thee, lest thou shouldst cut a covenant with the dweller of the land which thou art coming upon it. Penet Yehia Lamokesh Bekerabeka, lest it should be for a snare in thy midst. Ki et midbehotam titothun, because their altars thou shalt pull down. Ve'et masebotam teshaberun, and their pillars ye shall break. Their altars ye shall tear down, and their pillars ye shall break. Ve'et asherau ticherotun, and their asherim ye shall cut down. Ki lo hetisha tahawe lehel acher, because thou shalt not bow down to worship toward another god. Ki Yahweh qanna hashemo, because Yahweh, jealous is his name. El qanna hu, a god of jealousy. A jealous God he is. Lest thou cut a covenant with the dweller of the land. Wazanu achare Elohehem, and they whore after their gods. وَذَبَحُوا لِإِلَٰهِهِمْ, and they sacrificed to their gods. وَقَارَ لَكَ وَأَكَلْتَ مِذِبَحُ, and it should call to thee, and thou eat from their sacrifice, from its sacrifice. وَلَقَحْتَ مِن بَنَاتِهِ لَبَنَكَ, and thou take from his daughters for thy sons. وَزَانُوا بَنَاتِهِ أَخَرَيْ Elohehem, وَهِزْنُوا et بَنَكَ أَخَرَيْ Elohehem, and they whore, their daughters whore after their gods, and they cause thy sons to whore after their gods. Elohe Masecha Lo Tashelach, gods of a molten metal, thou shalt not effectuate for thee. Et hag hamathot tishamor, thou shalt keep the festival of the unleavened breads. Shiva atayamim toakal mathot atarasiwitika lemoed hodeth hahabib. 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened breads, what I commanded thee, for an appointment of the month of the Aviv. Ki b'chodeth ha'aviv yashata mim Mitzrayim, because in the month of the Aviv thou camest out from Mitzrayim. Kol Petra Rahmali. Every delivered thing of the womb, every firstborn delivered from the womb is for me. وكل مقنقة تذكر Peter Thor and all thy cattle, or of all thy cattle, thou shalt remember, or all thy cattle thou shalt remember, or thou shalt mail the firstborn of the ox or sheep. Wufeter hamor, and the firstborn of the donkey, tifede busher, thou shalt redeem by means of a sheep. Wimelo tifede wa'arafator, and if thou shalt not redeem, also thou shalt neck it, break its neck. Kol b'korbanaka tifede, every firstborn of thy sons thou shalt redeem. V'lo yerau panai rekam, and they shall not be seen to my faces empty-handed or empty. Shethat yamim ta'abud, 6 days thou shalt serve or work. Ubayom hashvi'i tishabot, and in the 7th day thou shalt cease, thou shalt rest. Beharish uvakathir tishabot, in the plowing time and in the harvesting time thou shalt cease. Wahag Shavuot ta'ashelaka, and the festival of the weeks, thou shalt effectuate for thee. Bikure kathir hittim, the first fruits of the harvest of wheat. Wahag ha'asif, and the festival of ingathering. Tekufat Hashanah, the coming of the year. Thaloth Ba'amim Bashana, 3 times in the year. Yera Kol the Kuraka, all of thy male shall be, every of thy male shall appear. Et pene hadon Yahweh Elohe Yisrael, with the faces of the Lord, Yahweh, God of Yisrael. Ki orish goyim mipaneka, for I shall cast out, I shall cause to inherit nations from before thee. V'hirahabti et gevuleka, and I shall broaden thy border. V'lo yahmod ish et arshaka, and a man shall not covet thy land. Ba'alotaka leraot et pneya v'eloheka thaloth pa'amim bashana, in thy going up to see the faces of Yahweh, or to appear with the faces of Yahweh thy God 3 occasions, 3 times, 3 steps in the year. Lord tishahat alahamet damdibahi. Thou shalt not slaughter or sacrifice upon leavened things, upon a leavened thing, the blood of my sacrifice. Walo yalin labokar debah hug hapasah. And the sacrifice of the festival of the Pesach Passover shall not overnight to the morning. Reshit bikure hadamataka tabi hebet Yahweh Eloheka. The first of the firstfruits of thy ground thou shalt bring to the house of Yahweh thy God. Lo tavashel gadi bahalebahim more. Thou shalt not boil the kid, that is the goatling, in the milk of its mother. Vayomer Yahweh el Moshe, and Yahweh said to Moshe, Ketob leka et hadvarim haele. Write thou for thee these words. Ki alapi hadvarim haele karati hitakabarit with Israel. Because upon the mouth of these words I have cut with thee a covenant, and with the house of Israel. Wayahiyatham im Yahweh arba'im yom wa arba'im layla. And he was there with Yahweh 40 days and 40 nights. Lehem Eloh hakal wa mayim Eloh shata. Bread he did not eat, and water he did not drink. ויכתוב על הלוחות את דברי הברית אשר את הדברים, and he wrote upon the tablets the words of the covenant, 10 words. ויהי ברדת משה מהר סיני, and it was in the coming down of Moshe from Mount Sinai, ותנה לוחות העדות ביד משה ברדתו מן ההר, and the 2 tablets of the testimony in the hand of Moshe in his coming down from the mountain. وموشى לא ידע כי קרן עור פניו בדברו איתו. And Moshe had not known that the skin of his face had shone or sent out rays in his wording with him. וירא אהרון וכל בני ישראל את משה, והנה קרן עור פניו. And Ahron saw, and also all the sons of Israel saw, Moshe. And behold, the skin of his faces sent out rays. ויראו מגשת אליו, and they feared from to approach to him. ויקרא עליהם Moshe, and Moshe called to them. ויתובו אלי ואהרון וכל הנשים ba'eda, and Aharon and all the rulers among the congregation returned to him. Vayedabber Moshe alehem, and Moshe worded to them. V'acharei ken nigashu kol bnei Yisrael, and after this all the sons of Yisrael drew near. Vayetawem et kol atar dibber Yahweh ito b'har Sinai, and he commanded them all what Yahweh worded with him in Mount Sinai. Vayikal Moshe midabber itam, and Moshe finished from wording with them. Vayitna alapanau masawer, and he gave upon his faces a veil. Uvo Moshe lifnei Yahweh ledabber hito, and in Moshe's coming before the faces of Yahweh to word with him, Yasir et hamasawer ala sheto, he turned the veil away until his going out. Vayashah v'diber el bnei Yisrael et atar Yisroel, and he went out and he worded to the sons of Yisrael what he was commanded. V'ra'u bnei Yisrael et pnei Moshe ki qaran or pnei Moshe, and the sons of Yisrael saw the faces of Moshe, that the skin of the faces of Moshe sent out rays. V'hethi b'Moshe et hamasawer al panau adbo ledaber hito, and Moshe returned the veil upon his faces until his coming to word with him.